Hello, hello. Tiffany Haynes here. I am bringing you a new series that I'm really excited about where we are going to be talking about tips that you can utilize as you shift from having an employee mindset to a CEO mindset. And the reason why I'm doing this series and the reason why I was inspired to do this series is because I work with aspiring entrepreneurs all the time. I work with them in my master class. They are how they enter my mentorship, aspiring entrepreneurs, and they leave entrepreneurs. And so I have noticed a consistent pattern of the mindset that a CEO has, that an entrepreneur has, that an employee has, and the journey that they have to take for that thing to change, for that shift to take place, for that transformation to happen. Okay. And so I want to just go ahead and give you the cheat codes so that you can start to implement this mindset and you can really start to make the shift in your mind if this is something that you aspire to be. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, nor do I think everybody should be if they're not ready. But if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, an aspiring CEO, I want you to start thinking about these shifts that you need to make in your mind. So, one of the very first things that you're going to have to do, I have done it, okay, because I definitely did not have this 10 years ago before I was getting into entrepreneurship, is you have to redefine what you're calling an expense. You need to redefine what you are calling an expense. You're going to have to think about when you say, that's expensive. What are you saying? When you say, I can't afford that, that costs too much. What are you saying? Are you saying you truly don't have the money or you don't see the value in it to spend the money? I want you to understand the vocabulary that you use when in reference to you talking about spending money, in reference to you talking about spending your money. I want you to evaluate the vocabulary that you use. When you say, um, I don't, I think that's a waste of money. Is it because it's truly a waste of money or you don't understand how that thing can bring value in your life? Maybe it is a waste of money. So I'm not trying to get you to think different about a certain topic or position. I'm getting you to just evaluate. Every time you say something about spending money, I want you to evaluate the words that are coming out of your mouth. I'm going to show you why right now. When you are a CEO, when you are an entrepreneur, every time something is presented to you, an opportunity where you now have to whip out your credit card and utilize it, a CEO is saying, what is the value and what is being presented to me? And then this is the next thing that a CEO is going to process. Is there a short term cost, but a long term value? Is there, yes, in the short term, I have to part with some of my money. But in the long term, what I get in return makes that short term cost very small. That is what I have to evaluate when anything is presented to me, any opportunity ever. I have to evaluate that. I have to evaluate if I spend this $1, will I get $100 back in return in value? I'll give you a real life example of a short term cost but long term value proposition. Back when I was beginning to be an entrepreneur, I knew that I needed to get in personal development. I knew that that was something that I was going to have to do. And so what I decided was I was like, okay, well, I'm a believer. So I also was like, okay, I want to learn and grow my spiritual life. I want to make sure that I'm growing our financial, portfolio and what we have going. I also want to make sure I'm learning just as a personal development, just discipline and consistency. And so I started to look at different people that I could learn from, and I would gather all these, different speakers and motivators and teachers, and I would just watch just for free, just their YouTube videos and all of these things. And so anybody that knows, my journey with Eric Thomas, that's how I came to find Eric Thomas, because he was all the things, right? And he was the believer, the businessman, the motivator. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I don't have to be piecing together my personal development. I can just get it from this one person. Right. And so I invested in his mentorship. I invested in working with him. Because of that, not only did it increase my consistency, not only did it increase my personal development, and I think the investment was like, I can't remember. He did like a special around the holidays. So let's say it was $500. I can't remember the exact number. So not only increased my consistency, my personal development, and discipline, all of the things, right? But I also, because I was in his community now, I got to know like-minded people. So anytime you're in a community of personal development, now you're meeting more people that are trying to also uh, cultivate and get the best out of themselves. And so you're just sharpening the iron of other people. You're constantly sharpening each other's iron. And so now meeting these incredible people, I end up doing business with these people. I end up working with these people. I end up learning from these people. I end up saying, hey, this is my gift. What's your gift? Are they opposites? Let's work together and create something beautiful. And I've done that time and time again. I end up working with Eric Thomas and having incredible opportunities with him. So the 500 I spent was my short-term cost. My long-term value cannot be quantified anymore. I have surpassed numeric numbers in how I had a return on that. And so what I want you to do is understand that when I had the understanding that my personal development was now an investment, because I was gonna reap some level of return. I didn't know what the level of return was, but I knew I needed to reap a level of return. I knew that the value that I would extract out of that personal development, I would be able to use for a lifetime. That's where it starts to get where it can't even be quantified. How can you quantify something helping you be more consistent and it impacts every single area in your life? Your business, you as a parent, you as a spouse, you as a, like, how do you begin to still quantify that? And so that's why I want you to look at, what is the short-term cost? Absolutely, we have to evaluate that. Absolutely, we have to analyze that. Absolutely, we have to go back to our bank account and our goals and what we have coming up and seeing what that looks like. But make sure it's measured against the long-term value that you're going to get and receive. You're going to get in return. If you can look at the short-term costs and you can look at the long-term value, and your mind, it's endless possibilities, how dare you call that an expense? That's an investment that you're going to reap a reward for it. Is it an expense or is it a seed that can reap you a harvest? I planted a seed with that money. I have reaped a harvest. I planted a seed in my personal development. I reaped a harvest in return. And so that is the principle that I want you to start thinking about if you're an employee now. When opportunities are presented to you, is it an expense? Guess what's an expense? Netflix, that's an expense. Hulu, that's an expense. Your personal development, investing into a coach, buying a book, your Audible subscription, that's an investment. That is a short-term cost for long-term value. I want you to redefine expense. Tiffany Haynes here. I hope you found this valuable. If you want to learn the business that I did when I became an entrepreneur, okay, just because you want to be nosy and just curious, I invite you to go to tiffany'smasterclass.com. I'm going to show you how I start, scale, and sustained my real estate VA business that I own to this day. It's going on 10 years. To this day, I own that business. So you can always join me there if you want to learn more about that. But this is the very beginning of a series that I'm going to continue to do. I already have about 7 ideas. So I got to see if I'm going to either narrow it down or just give them all to you. So I am excited to continue this series because I think it's truly going to help you guys. So anyway, I'll see you next time. And subscribe, hit a thumbs up if this helped you in any way. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you soon.